Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Division video. Today is Thursday, which of course means there was another state of the game, and today we finally got a date for the 1.7 PTS for PC and some information on the console PTS. A little bit different, but I'll get into that in just a second. We also got a little bit more information with regards to some additional content coming in patch 1.7 and a little bit of gameplay of that in action. So as always in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a complete wrap up of everything from state of the game in case you guys missed it. So if you do enjoy this, you do find it helpful, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, but first up let's talk about the PTS. So for PC players, the PTS 1.7 is going to be going live tomorrow. That is June the 30th. It'll be live at 10 AM CEST, i.e. Malmo time. That is 11 AM if you guys are in the UK, 4 AM if you guys are on the East Coast, 1 AM if you are on West Coast, and of course then wherever else you are in the world, you want to use some kind of time conversion website. Point is, that is when it goes live. Now this time around there won't be a preload for the PC version. You will simply, the second it's available, you just be able to download it and start playing. So it'll literally be about 10 AM tomorrow, Malmo time, it'll go live, and then you can jump on and start testing it out. However, for consoles, it's going to be coming a little bit later. It is definitely coming, so there will be a 1.7 PTS for consoles. However, they've explained that based on the way that they have to deploy the PTS patch, and things do take quite a while, then what they're actually going to be doing is effectively bringing consoles in what we typically refer to as like PTS 2. If you guys have followed PTS before, you'll know the first PTS goes out, that's typically called PTS 1. There'll then be some changes, they'll then fix that and roll out the second version, which is then PTS 2, and this can then go on for, PTS 3, 4, however many iterations or patches they need to get it to the right place. Now, if the console version came out at the same time as the PC one, i.e. tomorrow, then when the first sort of initial change went in and they rolled out that next patch on PC, there wouldn't be enough time to submit that and get it out on consoles. So they decided to effectively make it so that the PC one goes out tomorrow, and typically the very first iteration of the PTS is normally the most broken one. It's where any of the kind of glaring issues immediately present themselves. So by letting PC run with that first and kind of highlight those issues, they can then get that patch prepared and then fix those. So they then said what they're going to be doing is next week, on Monday, they will then review the main kind of issue points from the weekend, from the PC players going hands-on. They will then fix them, roll them into the next version, and then when PTS 2 goes live, at some point, ideally, next week, console players will then be in on that. So you will definitely 100% have a chance to test it out if you're on console. It's just that you won't be able to do it necessarily at the exact same time as PC players. However, with regards to testing it on console, it is going to work a little bit differently. On PC, if you own a copy of the Division, you can also download the PTS. However, on console, it's not going to work quite the same way. They have a limited number of invites for players on both Xbox and PS4. Essentially, they have 10,000 invites per platform, so that is a total of 20,000 invites. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be selecting console players based on your activity. If you're an active Division player, i.e. you've played within the last month, you are at end game, i.e. you've hit level 30, and you are, actively involved in the end game and you just play the game a lot, then you will be in the pool and they will then be sending out invites to 10,000 players on Xbox and 10,000 players on PS4. You will then get an email, and if you are one of the lucky few that got the email, you will then be able to use that to get a code, which you can then use to download the PTS client on your platform of choice. So, different to PC, not every single person on console can just log on and play it, but if you are an active player, you play the game a lot, and you've been playing it recently, then chances are you should hopefully get a code. So that's essentially how it's going to work. So to recap that, PC PTS is live tomorrow, 10 AM Malmo time. And then next week, when they've addressed the kind of main bugs from the very first hands-on period from PC players, they will then prep PTS 2. And at that point, PC and console will go live at the same time. And then at some point next week, the invites will go out for console players. The cool thing for console players is you will be able to preload it. So when the invites go out next week and you get your codes, you then be able to download the client so you're ready to go for when the patch drops. So that is the PTS situation. Now, as for the content, what we'll be testing, there are a few things, because of course if you've been following the 1.7 information, you know there are things like global events, commendations, classified gear sets, which I spoke about last week. If you guys missed that, I'll link the video down below. However, not all of that is going to be in the PTS in the very first week. So, global events, they are not going to be first week PTS. However, during the course of this PTS, the 1.7 PTS, there will be 2 global events that they go into test. The first one will of course be the one we've seen, the one you're seeing playing in the background, which is the one where when you shoot cleaners in the head, their heads explode into this kind of green pus gas, and if they're near anyone, then they kind of spread a bleed to them. So that will be one of the ones to test. The other one is an assault focused one, whereby I think you do more damage the closer you are to the enemy, less damage if you're further away, so it encourages kind of a close range build, rushing enemies and things like that. So they will be testing 2 different global events during the PTS, but not during the first week. So if you download it tomorrow, you won't have global events to dive into straight away. On top of that, there will also be no classified gear during the first week, since classified gear is intrinsically tied to global events. Typically it's a reward, so that itself will probably make its way into PTS week 2. It's also worth noting that when classified gear sets are added, they will probably make it so that you can just buy the special caches that contain those items. So for those of you guys that actually want to test them and then, run with these new classified gear sets and see what the new kind of perks offer you, then you should be able to do that. Typically in PTS, they're sold for free, so you don't have to worry about having credits. You can literally just jump in and grab them. However, what will be in the PTS during week 1 are Commendations. So this, as a reminder, is the new activity where effectively you grind certain aspects of the game. It might be like kill X number of cleaners, or kill X number of Arekkz, or LMB, or get a number of headshots, or destroy a number of, say, destructible items, different things like that. There'll be loads and loads of them, and these are something that you will be able to test in week 1. Of course, Commendations, they then kind of come out in tiers, so it might be like if you kill 10,000 cleaners, you hit tier 1. When you kill like 20,000 cleaners, you hit tier 2. These numbers I'm making up, by the way, but it's just an example. And typically, in the actual full game, when this thing is implemented, when you hit the max tier, so it might be like tier 6 or 7, that is when you get the Commendation, which then gives you the patch, which is a new vanity item. However, for the purposes of the PTS, they're going to be bringing those patches forward to tier 1 because they don't expect people to go out and kill hundreds of thousands of cleaners in a short space of time. So for the purposes of testing, you'll be able to get them considerably sooner than you would in the real game. It's also worth mentioning that there will be duplicate patches, and not all the patches will show up in the PTS, because again, for testing purposes, some of them are placeholder. But the fundamental flow will be there. You'll be able to complete certain commendations, and then once you meet the requirements, you will get a new patch which will go in the new vanity slot. Additionally, it's also worth mentioning that not all the commendations will be on the PTS. So if you look at the list thinking, oh, is that all we've kind of got to do? Know that in the PTS, there's probably going to be about half of the commendations. So in the full game, or at least when 1.7 goes live to everybody, then the list will probably be kind of about twice as big as what we see on the PTS. On top of that, something else coming to 1.7 is this thing called Encrypted Caches. Now, these are something that'll show up at the premium vendor. I appreciate this is not everybody's favourite topic because typically it ties to microtransactions. However, this time around, you don't have to actually spend real money. You can, but you don't have to. Encrypted Caches are now a special box. They've actually got a special kind of unboxing animation, which does look pretty sweet. And when you open them, they will give you a selection of vanity items. And this can be a combination of existing items that are currently for sale from the premium vendor, and also some exclusive items that are exclusive to these encrypted caches. In order to open them, you need what is known as a cipher key. However, cool thing is, the cipher keys can also come from endgame activities, namely global events, and a few other things they didn't specifically specify. So, for those of you guys that do want to try and get some of the items from this vendor, there is actually going to be a way for you to do that and buy them without having to spend real money. If you do endgame activities, you play global events, and you get involved in some of the other kind of stuff you can get up to in-game, then you'll have a chance to get these keys so you can still acquire them. Of course, if you are one of those people that does really like to get cosmetic items and you don't mind spending money, then yes, you can still buy cipher keys, but again, that is entirely up to you. But either way, these are all cosmetics, they're not in any way going to impact the actual overall gaming experience. On top of that, you guys might remember a while back when, speaking about global events, one of the original things they actually mentioned was that the global events would also reward you with a unique vanity item that is not like anything we've seen before. It's not going to be like a backpack skin or a weapon skin or like a pair of trousers or a hat. It's going to be something we haven't had before. And today they actually revealed exactly what that is. We don't have any images of it, but the additional item that'll go in the new vanity slot that is tied to global events are face masks. Finally, there'll be a way for you to wear a cool face mask. Now, immediately, when you say masks, I think about, say, the hunters, but hopefully there'll be some more outlandish ones, some ones with like camo paint on and maybe funny faces or like clown masks or I don't know, like crazy sort of demon masks, whatever it is. Point is, there will be face masks and these will be tied to global events. So when 1.7 drops at some point later this year, then you will be able to do global events, and of course at the same time you'll be able to get your caches, get your classified gear sets, but you will also be able to earn face masks from these events. However, because these are just a cosmetic item, they don't need to test them, these will not be in the PTS, so this will be one surprise that we will just be able to discover once the 1.7 patch goes live for everyone. So that is something else to consider. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about, and this is actually going to be live tomorrow as well, is the ability to re-customize your character in a new area in the terminal. If you go down through the staircase, down the corridor, and then turn right before you go down to the kind of main area in the terminal, you can go up here to the bathroom. If you go up and you interact with the mirror, you then get the option to re-customize your character to a certain extent. Now, bear in mind, to kind of maintain the sort of fantasy of the game, you're not going to be able to go in here and have a sex change or change the actual structure of your face. The basic kind of base face structure, character structure, is going to remain intact, hence where you can see it is locked up in the top left hand corner here. However, all of the additional customization things like your hairstyle, face paint, tattoos, your glasses, or any kind of other accessories you've got, all of that stuff can be changed. So if you're one of those people that on launch day thought, hey, I want to wear sunglasses, thinking that you can then take them off at some point further down the line only to find out you can't, finally you can. So you can do this, and that way if you are annoyed with your character, so for example when I moved from Xbox One to PC, I decided to make a character with face paint on, and I have forever regretted that decision literally every single time I log in and look at my character. So finally, I'm going to be able to undo that. So that'll also be in the PTS tomorrow for you to test out, but aside from that, that is pretty much it. That is a quick recap of absolutely everything you need to know about the PTS right now. So as a reminder, it'll be live tomorrow on PC, and at some point next week on console. But for console players, keep an eye on your inbox that is associated with your Xbox Live or PlayStation Network account, because you'll be getting an invite, and you need to go through that to download the PTS. And of course, the main things to test when it goes live tomorrow are Commendations and the customization. And then at some point further down the line, when we kind of get PTS 2, that is when global events will start working their way in, so we can test out things like that, and the classified gear sets. So, that's pretty much it. Make sure you check back tomorrow, because when the PTS goes live, I will hop on and show you guys some of the new stuff. We'll take a look at recustomizing the characters and some of the commendations. But until then, thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.